As we look at First News, it's fair, it's accurate. You get the damn truth. Rescuers are searching for missing people, and they're working to reach hundreds who are stranded when Taiwan's strongest earthquake in 25 years sent boulders and mud tumbling down mountainsides, blocking roads, tipping buildings over. 10 people died. 1,000 were hurt. The quake struck during the rush hour in the morning. School children rushed outdoors to stand away from the buildings. The epicenter was about 150 kilometers from Taipei, which was the capital. 600 British jurists are calling on their government to suspend arms sales to Israel, who are fighting the terrorists that want to kill everybody in Britain. The move adds to pressure their prime minister after the deaths of 3 UK aid workers on an Israeli strike. Folks, accidents happen during time of war, and these aid workers were inadvertently struck and killed, 7 of them, while Israel continues to wipe out terrorism. Now, nobody is mentioning, and they're making a deal out of this. Folks, you remember 2 years ago when that U.S. drone inadvertently hit those aid workers and killed them over there in the Middle East? There wasn't the backlash from the U.S. drone killing those aid workers 2 years ago. We sent a few apologies, but this time it's different because Israel did it during the time of war. A judge rejected Donald Trump's bid to delay his non-disclosure trial until the Supreme Court rules on presidential immunity claims. Now, this is big, folks. This is big on the Biden administration because President Trump, former President Trump, had documents at Mar-a-Lago that others felt were top secret, where presidents do have the right to have them. Obama has them, Clinton has them, Carter has them, Bush, they all have them. Joe Biden had them, and he is not allowed to have them when he was a senator or vice president or private citizen. He had them in 8 different locations, and he gave them to a book writer for an $8 million upfront book deal. So this could work 2 different ways depending on how the Supreme Court rules on presidential immunity. Authorities said there was a nighttime Russian attack using Iran's drones that killed innocent people and wounded 12 in Kharkov, Ukraine's largest city. Once again, folks, the Biden administration, John Tester, Schumer, they keep sending money to Iran, and they are funding terrorist activity and killing of innocent people around the world. Why? We keep voting for them. The front line right now by Kiev, virtually deadlocked, Russia and Ukraine, each holding their ground at this point. Thousands and thousands of civilians have been killed. Millions displaced from the Ukraine in this war with Russia, and yet no concern, no aid ships going to those folks in the Ukraine, no military drops, just the Palestinians. NATO celebrating our 75th anniversary. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with his counterparts yesterday, noting the founding of the treaty that was signed in 1949. Sweden is now taking part in the meeting of NATO ministers for the first time. They joined last month. Russia's war pushed it and Finland to seek protection among the organization's ranks. That attack on the Moscow concert hall, the bloodiest assault on Russian soil in more than 20 years, appears to be setting the stage for an increasingly harsh response from Vladimir Putin. 4 suspects in that attack appeared in court. They were brutally beaten while they were in custody. Video showing some of their treatment was put on social media. Top Kremlin officials called for sending hit squads to kill Ukrainian officials if Kiev's involvement as the attack is proven. They're still working on it. Donald Trump has routinely faced protesters over the years as a candidate during his presidency as they demonstrated outside of his rallies. Well, guess what? Trump's events this year are not drawing the big protest, and Joe Biden events are. That's right. Activists are now showing up at Joe Biden's events, routinely interrupting him and confronting him wherever he goes now in the United States. And that's an AP story, folks. Well, the New York City Marathon might soon have to pay a toll if they want the runners to cross the bridge like every other commuter. Their Metropolitan Transportation Authority is demanding that anybody that runs in the race should have to pay. It would mean about $750,000 for the use of the bridge. New York's Bridges and Tunnels say the fee represents the estimated amount of toll revenue that they're going to lose because the bridge is closed and the runners get to run across it. So they want the runners to have to pay a toll to run in the New York City Marathon. Voter rejection around the country of the stadium sales tax plans, in particular one for Kansas City and the Chiefs, now raising questions about what happens next. And they're not the first ones to face this public rejection. Finance professor, University of Colorado, Denver, has tracked stadium referendums since 1990. He found that voters approved 35 of them, but they've defeated 22 of them. Some teams then move after the voters reject paying for these stadiums. More often, the teams have to regroup and they eventually win some public funding for their stadiums, but a lot of teams sidestep the voters altogether by getting approval just straight from their local and state lawmakers, folks. Yeah, even there, they bypass the voters being able to vote on whether they want their taxes to go up or not, and their state legislators and their city officials just say, we're going to do it anyway, and you will pay. And people aren't happy about it. Global shares mostly higher today. Everybody's expecting a possible U.S. interest rate cut coming later on in the year. Shares finished higher in Tokyo, Seoul, Sydney. Oil prices fell a little bit overnight, but were up yesterday to about $85.43 a barrel, pushing again your gas prices higher and higher. S&P was up 5 points. Dow fell 43. NASDAQ was up 37 points yesterday. Some of the stocks had traded heavily. Intel was down. The chip maker made a disappointing update, said losses widen in 2023. Dave & Buster's was up. Their restaurant and arcade chain increased their stock buyback program yesterday. Signet Jewelers, it was also up. Company raised their earnings forecast. Mark had nothing to do with Signet Jewelers stock going up yesterday. Disney shareholders rallied behind their longtime CEO, Robert Iger. They voted Wednesday to get him in again. The shareholders were voting yesterday by proxy. They declared a victory of sorts following the vote, noting that Disney shares now has risen 50% since they started putting a little more pressure on that company in Disney. Colorado's wildlife authorities said a wolf killed a calf down in Colorado. First livestock kill after 10 of them were reintroduced in December, at the dismay of a lot of the residents down there in Colorado. Parks and Wildlife confirmed Wednesday they investigated the calf's wounds, and there were nearby wolf tracks that were consistent with a wolf kill. The Colorado Cattlemen's Association said the attack underscores the strain they put on ranchers. A calf's owner can be compensated by the state for an animal's market value as high as $15,000. But they only introduced 10 of them to the area, and one has already killed a calf. So it didn't say whether they are going after the wolf or not. That's the big thing. Once you eat beef, wolves tend to like it. I mean, what would you rather eat? Beef or antelope? So we'll see what happens down there in Colorado. Oh, finally, we got this. I've been wondering about this for so many years. New research out there, folks, suggesting that brown rats crawled off ships earlier than they previously thought to take over North American cities. It first appears they landed on the continent back in 1740. Brown rats were bigger and more aggressive. Scientists said they may have eaten food that the black rats otherwise would have. That's because they're racist rats. Today, brown rats are so ambiguous in the North American cities that they're known as common rats or now street rats. Experts say knowing which rats lead the pack can help cities better manage the populations. Oh, in some of those bigger cities, we got a lot of dirty rats.
Oh, you dirty rat.
We got a lot of them in there, too. You have to be careful. But they said they first came over in 1740. And the April 8th total solar eclipse quickly approaching. The right way to enjoy this rare cosmic occurrence is with a themed playlist, Mark. So the Associated Press has compiled 20 songs spanning the decades that they feel are the best ones for the solar eclipse viewing experience. Oh yeah, the classic eclipse song Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler.
Of course.
There is no more appropriate song than that one, according to AP. Blinded by the Light Moonlight, Bruce Springsteen. They threw that one in there. Let's see here. What else do they have here? Young Boy Never Broke Again, Solar Eclipse. They did that song. Have you ever heard of that? Joni Mitchell's Moon at the Window.
Nope.
Let's see here. David Bowie's Starman.
Can't help you.
What else do we have here? Considered a distorted reverse production of Earl Sweatshirt's short rap track that he does. Also Moonlight by Jay-Z on the list. I knew you wouldn't like this. Taylor Swift's Folklore.
Not familiar with it.
Yeah. Moonshadow by Cat Stevens.
Oh, that makes sense.
They have that one in there. So just some of the things that you can all put together for... The Eclipse is only 4 minutes. You only need a 4-minute song.
Well, and Blinded by the Light, Bruce Springsteen wrote it, but Manfred Mann had the hit with it, so I don't know which version they play.
There you go. See, that's what I was looking for. And that's where we end things. Right there. News time is 6:40. Sports and weather next.
In sports, Major League Baseball, the Oakland A's are moving to Las Vegas eventually. They're knocking down a big resort down there and going to build them a new state-of-the-art facility. The city of Oakland still wants to negotiate. They don't want them to leave. They've had some trouble with some of the management for the Oakland A's, and so they haven't gotten together on stuff. It looks like right now they'll announce today or tomorrow that the A's are going to spend 3 years in Sacramento, and they'll be playing at Sutter Heath Park, and that's where the San Francisco Giants AAA team plays. And that works good for them, too, because there's a morning radio host there that's trying to get Major League Baseball to give an expansion team to Sacramento anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to see how well they draw for the next 3 years. To start with this year, the Oakland A's at their stadium where the city wants them to stay. Average attendance, the first 6 games, a little under 6,500.
Really?
Yes.
Well, and they've already closed the Tropicana, so folks, you are not going to save that.
Mark, we broke up.
We need to talk.
That's right.
Sunshine today on tap for us. 75 degrees this afternoon. That is about 20 degrees above average. Then we get to the weekend, and we're only going to hit 42 on Sunday. And folks, that's about 15 degrees below average. So with some rain over the weekend. Right now it's 43. Sun's just starting to come up there at the eastern horizon. 6:42, and that's what's happening. Game day today. More bull riding tickets. Have those ready to go. Bull rides aren't this weekend, but they're next weekend. But we got plenty here on the Cat.